So I got down to the end of that long hallway, and I started cussing him. Why you so big? 'Cause you died young? I looked down that long hallway, and there sat Hank Williams without a shirt on and a fedora, smoking a cigarette.
Whoa.
The image only stayed with me for about a minute, but he helped me write the ride. And on down in the Hank Museum, written by Gary Gentry, J.B. Detterline, and Hank Williams Sr.
Wow. Wow.
Welcome to a podcast about music and entertainment. Before it all goes down the disposal, this is Circling the Drain.
We'll do it.
You go, buddy.
Hey, welcome back to Circling the Drain, the podcast that tries to keep the entertainment world and the music world, the radio world, even the TV world from going down the old proverbial disposal, if you know what I mean. My name's Johnny B, or John E. Bozeman, if you like. My partner over there, Jay Harper.
Jay.
Hey there, John. Good to see you.
And the guy that keeps it all together, Mr. Jim McCarthy.
Hey, Jim.
In charge of the sliders and the buttons.
And we've got a special friend in today. This guy, you want to talk about it. I will go on and just say this is one of my favorite songwriters in the world.
Oh, man, that
Gary
means a lot to
Gentry.
me. Thank you.
How you doing? And I'm telling you, you've heard his tunes if you just go down the line.
Man,
1959 by John Anderson. Came out in 1980.
That's right. Love Betty.
Oh, my God. Well, he did such a good job with that song, I thought. He really delivered it well. But you've written so many more. You wrote the Corvette song by George Jones, which was fantastic.
Yeah, The Ride from
David Allen
Coe.
In fact, that was your most successful, was it not?
It is. I just found out today Tim McGraw's put it out in his new Ultimate Collection album, and
Wow.
there it is again. And Garth Brooks.
You want to go out to lunch?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're buying.
Yeah, you're
we're,
buying.
We're going to get new gutters out of this.
So make sure you go out and buy that today.
That's right. Well, didn't Garth, he covered that too, did he not?
Garth did. And Garth added his own verse. Did you notice that?
Yes, I did.
And it was great.
Yeah.
And he called Sony and asked permission, and he said, I don't want any credit for it.
That's pretty
I
nice
don't want
of
any
him.
money for it. But I've always wondered what else Hank and Gary David talked about coming up to Nashville.
Yeah.
And so he added his verse.
That was just very cool.
It was cool. And I appreciate everybody that's done my song.
Well, in fact, I had to explain to somebody because we were in a club. This is back in 83 when it came out. But somebody played the album version, which included David talking like the ghost of Hank Williams at the end of it, where he says, you got a lot of competition out there now, son.
Right.
And somebody said, oh, he's talking about himself again. And I said, no, he's channeling the ghost of Hank Williams.
Yeah.
Is what he's doing at the end of that. David was good at that.
That was, he could ad lib and make it count.
And put his name in.
Yeah.
Which was branding. I mean,
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I always dug him for that because
smart guy.
Oh, yeah, because if you ever saw him on stage, David always had, his name was emblazoned on everything he had. His guitar, his
everything.
guitar strap.
And you're carrying on that legacy. Look at the front of your shirt.
Yeah, I am.
Well, it's like, Gary said, you're probably the biggest fan he's got. Maybe
believe
the
you
only
are.
one left. I don't know.
The rest of them have gone on before us.
Well, the first time I saw you on television had to be Bobby Bear and Friends.
Bobby Bear.
When you did that, it was with Steve Young, David Allen Coe, and then you. And I was really excited to see all of you, but I had not really got to see you. And I mean, man, when we walked away from that, walking away from watching that, I became a huge fan of yours.
Oh, thank you.
Because you were
I've
so
been a
good
fan
on
of
that.
yours for a long time, too.
Well, that's very kind to say.
You know that. I mean it.
Well, yeah, it's very true. Well, in fact, how we actually met, and I always tell people, I've met more people in the music business through talk radio than I ever did music radio. But we were telling a story. I used to work at this station in Birmingham called K99. It used to be a rock station, then it changed to country. And I was playing Drinking and Driving by Johnny Paycheck because I love the tune. I love the song. And I was a big Paycheck. I liked Paycheck. I thought he was a great singer. And I always gravitated towards singers too that had kind of a colorful lifestyle because it kind of added to their,
that was indeed Paycheck. Colorful.
Yeah. Very. But anyway, we had this program director. And his wife was a member of MAD, which I'm all for them. I mean, you shouldn't get in a car and drive. But I don't believe that, if somebody's listening to Johnny Paycheck singing and drinking and driving, by gosh, I think I'll do that too. Mm-hmm. I don't think that happens. And if it does happen, that person needs more help than they can be administered to them. They need to go seek professional help. But anyway, this gal wore me out. She complained to me. She called me every time I played it, just on the phone, just
would let you have it.
Would let me have it. Then finally she started calling management.
Yeah, that's what it'll
and
get
then,
to.
And then I'm sorry, Gary, but they made me quit playing it.
That's all right. Thanks for the plays we did. Thanks for the plays we did.
Yeah.
But Gary heard me tell this story on Phil Valentine's show, and Tommy Minier. Am I getting the name right?
Tommy Minier, yeah.
Minier. Okay, I got it wrong. But he got in touch with me. He's your manager. And he said, Gary, really enjoyed hearing your story. And that's how we met. And then my wife, hears me talking about Gary and sees that we email every now and then. She thinks Gary and I have known each other for years. And so
I've been listening to you for years.
Well, there you go. And I've been listening to you for years. So then we always had these get-togethers. We call them jams, and we'd invite people over to play guitars, and she'd put a spread out of barbecue and all kinds of different food. And she goes, "Hey, Gary Gentry's coming," and I said, "What? Really?"
That was fun.
That was fun. We had
and
a lot
I'm
of
going
fun.
to tell on you, you're a rock star, and you know it. When you sat down there with, what was the guitar player's name?
Oh, Kelly Emerson.
Kelly
Great
Emerson.
guitar player that lives here.
This guy can sing rock. He's been on talk show. I always thought he missed his calling. Should have been a rock star.
Oh, thank you, dude.
I enjoyed your music, man.
Well, thank you
Made me
very much.
ashamed to play my little hillbilly song.
No, it shouldn't have, man. It should, because this dude has written so many great songs. But the ride was just so, because I've always been a Hank Williams fan.
You lived in his house.
Well, yeah, I would stay there, because my dad and my stepmother bought it after Audrey died. And they refurbished it, but yeah, I used to stay there a lot when I was trying to hide out from girls that I didn't want to bother me, or
Well, Gary, I had always heard that you saw the ghost of Hank Williams or something along those lines that inspired you to write the boy. You should have hung out in that house. You really would have seen a ghost or two. Huh?
I did, and it was in Country Place Apartments. I needed a hit bad. And because I'd followed Hank all my life, from the time I was 12 years old on, I demanded he show himself and help me out. So I lit candles in the apartment.
Oh, wow.
Cut all the lights out, and I'm drunk. I haven't had a drink or a drug since 1984.
Oh, wow.
But then it was pretty rough. And I was drunken and doing other things. And I, come, Hank. He didn't come. So I got down to the end of that long hallway, and I started cussing him. And I said, why are you so big? 'Cause you died young? I looked down that long hallway, and there sat Hank Williams without a shirt on and a fedora, smoking a cigarette.
Whoa.
The image only stayed with me for about a minute, but he helped me write the ride. And down in the Hank Museum, written by Gary Gentry, J.B. Detterline, and Hank Williams Sr.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, and plus when you did the song at the Opryland Complex, when it came to the part where Hank introduces himself, all the lights went out.
All the lights went out. It was I think Phil Ball was on that session, and Opryland PR was that day.
Yeah.
And it was Byron Binkley had me on that
gosh.
good old Nashville music.
Yeah, I remember that.
I knew Byron, yeah.
So, he was a heck of a nice
Yes,
guy.
yeah.
And when I got to the line, the whole world called me Hank. The lights went. And we were sitting there in the dark, nothing. And Phil Ball said, Gary, Hank don't want to come back. That made the Tennessee newspaper that week.
Yeah, I remember.
And it went into the Enquirer and all those magazines that prey on that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I knew it was magic. David hadn't heard it yet.
In fact, that's what encouraged him to to hear the song. Was
that and Billy Sherrill. This is funny. Billy Sherrill had been mad at me for a year and a half because I went to Elektra Records because he wouldn't record me. Not that I could sing, but I mean, he didn't want to record me anyway. He wanted me to write. So I went back up there and he said, well, look what the dogs drug in. I said, Billy, he said, how much money did you lose by leaving me? And I said, I didn't come here. I ate a big piece of humble pie before I came down. And I said, I've got a hit. So he said, yeah, well, come on upstairs. I walked upstairs and took his Grammer guitar. He had beautiful collector guitars. And played him The Ride. Halfway through it, he said, well, I want the publishing. He knew where I was going.
That's a popular statement here in
I
Nashville.
want the publishing. I said, all right,
Yeah.
we can work that out. Yeah. But he said, I went ahead and put it down at home that night and brought it in to him the next morning. And he said, who you got in mind for this? And I said, Waylon. I said, Waylon's hot. And that Ride would have punched him right in.
It would have.
And he said, well, I'm going to tell you something. I need it for David. You let me have this song for David, and I'll make it up to you. And he did. Billy Sherrill was a man of his word. He gave me some cuts that I wasn't even expecting.
Yeah.
And David did so good.
Oh, he did.
And, I've been blessed to know the right people.
Yeah.
The good people,
Well, that's a God thing.
It's a God sign.
Yeah, it really is. David, I always thought David should have been as big as Waylon. I think he could have been had he not done some of the outrageous things he did, like the X-rated albums and things like that.
Yeah.
Probably not the greatest decisions ever made, but
well, and when he wrote those and did those, I don't think he knew he was going to become
I
as
don't
big
think he did
as he was. Do you?
No, I think in fact, from what I understand, he recorded those at a time when his career was in a lull. And they sold them to Easy Rider magazine, which was a magazine for bikers. I'm talking about not your weekend bikers. I'm talking your heavy duty.
It's a lifestyle biker.
Wearing the leathers and all that.
Well, I mean, Coe's always kind of looked like a biker.
Well, he is.
He
was a president of the Outlaws.
Yeah, that's right. Now that you mention that.
Yeah, in fact, when it was when Al Gore used to work for the Tennessean, he actually hung out with the Outlaws, and David was the president of that chapter at that time. And when Al did this, because we found this out when Al was running for president, and a couple of the former Outlaw members came out and told the story how they had hooked Al up with one of their old ladies, is what they call it. Which I don't know why a woman want to be called old lady, but hey, whatever turns you on, I guess.
That's an almost wife in that world.
At my house, it means I'll be sleeping on the couch.
Me too.
But what really got you, because you grew up, I mean, you were born in Athens, Tennessee. I know that.
Tennessee.
And what really brought you to Nashville?
Okay, I was about 12 years old, and I had a paper route. And back then I had a little rocket radio that attached to the handlebars, and yet they gave you one earplug, not two, one earplug.
Yeah.
And I heard I Can't Help It If I'm Still in Love with You.
Yeah.
And I never felt a song the way I felt his pain.
Yeah.
And I thought, who is it? So I ran home and told Mom, I got to see this guy in concert. I got to, this Hank Williams guy.
Yeah.
She said, well, honey, I'm sorry, but we can't do that. This was about 63 or 62. She said, he passed on about a decade ago.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, man, I'd love to see where he lived and see things. We had a local DJ. His name was Bill Adkins. And my daddy was a preacher. So Bill Adkins was a member of his church. And I told Bill, I said, Bill, I'd love to go over and see Hank Williams. He said, well, look, man, I used to date Skeeter Davis, and we're still friends. You go to the back of the Ryman, and the Ryman then.
Wow, yeah.
And where crowds lined up all the way down the Cumberland River.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And Skeeter was there. Well, come on in here. I walked in. I was zeroed in on Hank.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted. And I met this real nice gentleman in a suit. And I said, do you know where Hank Williams lives? I'm a kid, man.
Yeah.
I said, you know where Hank Williams lives? Well, no, I don't, but I'll bet Ernest could tell you. The real nice guy in the whites, do you know what he sang? It was Eddie Albert. He went out and sang Green Acres.
Really? Wow.
Really, darling.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, wow.
New York is rather be.
So Ernest Tubb told me where Hank's house was.
Wow.
So we're leaving town, and I've got a driver's permit. You know, you couldn't get a license till you were 16.
Right.
So I had this permit. And he said, now you'll know when you see it, 'cause there's white wrought iron musical notes out there in the front yard. Okay, I found it. We pulled in the driveway, and Mom said, what are you doing? And I said, I'm here to see Hank Williams. You're going to get us arrested, boy. I pulled in there. I knocked on the door. Miss Ragland was a lady at the house lady, maid. And I said, ma'am, I don't want to disturb nothing. I'd just like to walk around the house and see it. I'm probably the biggest Hank Williams fan that ever was. She said, she looked at the car and said, well, come on in. And I said, that's my mom and grandma sitting out there in the car. Well, tell them to come in too. Don't leave them out in the car. We went in. When I was going through the house, I was just fascinated. Of course, he had all contemporary furniture in the front room, you know.
Right.
And I went back and saw Hank's bedroom, which was a slanted floor at that time. They
Yeah.
were going to turn it into a theater.
Yeah.
And had a huge screen of Hank. I was in heaven, man. I had finally, that's as close as I was ever going to get to my hero.
Yeah.
Well, while I was in there, I turned left and went to the back. A lady stepped out of the bathroom in a white bathrobe and had a pink towel around her head. Can I help you, young man? I said, ma'am, Miss Ragland let us in here to see Hank's house. I said, I just love Hank and his music. Went out and bought take my paper out money and buy all his albums.
Yeah.
And she said, well, over here, Hank Jr. had a barber shop in the back, a little barber chair and shop. And she took me out to the swimming pool and the little cabana, thing that sat over it. There was an aquarium under the bar. So you could sit there and watch those fish swim by.
Wow.
And I thought, how neat is that?
Yeah.
And she took me and showed me the bedroom. Then she took me out showed me the car that Hank passed in.
Wow.
Good grief.
And she showed me the 64 Bonneville, a nudie car that was Hank Jr. And on the back, you know how the rag top goes back and it's got a cover over it?
Mm-hmm.
Every star that was in George Hamilton, every star that was in Your Cheating Heart, the movie,
Yeah.
had
Susan
autographed
Oliver.
autographed the cover.
Wow.
But most fascinating was there was the car that Hank left this world in.
Wow.
And so it stayed with me. Years later,
Yeah.
they had an audition for a Hank Williams tribute movie. And I wanted in it bad. I mean, this is Hank.
Yeah. Your hero.
I got the part of Sammy Pruitt.
Oh, wow.
I won the part. You look back at that film today, I don't even look like anything like that. No.
Well, they had John Boy Walton as Hank Jr.
Yeah, I know.
I thought that was bad
Weird.
I
miscasting.
know, but it was a great movie.
It was good.
And Merle played himself in
Yeah, he
that
did.
movie.
Yeah, Merle Kilgore.
Earl
Yeah.
Kilgore.
Yeah.
What a character.
And so we did the movie, and the advisors were Don Helms and Jerry Rivers.
Yeah.
Man, I hung on every story they told about Hank. Some of them funny, some of them weren't.
Yeah.
And I hung on every word. And so when I had been accepted as a writer by Billy and a lot of people in town, I wanted that ultimate song about Hank. And I felt like I deserved it.
Yeah.
I'd bought all the albums, spent my little hard-earned money on
There you go.
Hank Williams, everything, T-shirts, caps. And Hank helped me write The Ride. I know.
Yeah.
Nobody else knows.
Yeah.
A lot of people said, well, it was a whiskey and cocaine-induced hallucination and all. I've heard it. No, it doesn't matter. I know what I saw.
Yeah. Exactly.
I know what happened. Thank you, Hank. Thank you, God.
You're not kidding. You're not kidding. Well, 1959, I love that tune because, like I said, John Anderson, every time I would play that on the radio,
He's so good.
oh, I mean, it would just get me because we've all had relationships like that with women that got away.
Yeah.
Basically got away. And, you know, that was the great thing about country music was the emotion. I think that's kind of missing from it today. Do you think that's kind of the case?
Nora Wilson produced that song
Yeah.
on John. And he said, you know, a lot of the songs today are not written. They're our songs rewritten.
Yeah. That's true.
Nora said that.
Yeah.
And he was like Billy Sherrill. They were in the Gallico stable.
Right.
I thought, wow. And I've heard a lot of songs the other day. Dylan Weldon were with Dickie Lee.
Mm-hmm.
Love Dickie Lee.
Yeah.
Great man.
Great writer.
9,990,000
Yeah.
tears. Yeah.
Played the heck out of that one.
Who wrote She Thinks I Still Care?
Yeah.
And George did it. Anne Murray, Elvis did the song.
Yes.
And Dylan told him, Dickie, as we were sitting there, he said, you know, I've heard She Thinks I Still Care in 5 different versions of song. And what he meant was the come-alongs after.
Yes.
And Dickie just laughed. I mean, it happens.
Yeah, it does.
It happens.
It does.
And the subjects are great. And John Anderson, he's what a delivery.
Oh, what a voice.
What a voice.
Yeah, great artist. And you also had a lot there was another one that you wrote that I loved. It was Willie Nelson. Not Willie Nelson. Excuse me. George Jones and Ray Charles.
Oh, we didn't see a thing.
Yeah, we didn't see a thing.
What a great song and what a great performance. I mean, when you hear artists do your songs, have there ever been any that you were kind of disappointed in them? You don't have to name names, but I mean, do you have any kind of regrets, if that's the right word, about how some of your songs were performed? Maybe you had a different idea in your head.
Well, maybe in the early days, I can't remember. I'm getting old. I'm old, and I can't remember some of them. But they on a couple of them I was.
Yeah. But you're probably just happy to get the cut.
I'm grateful.
Of course, yeah.
So grateful.
But that performance with Ray Charles,
yes.
and George Jones, that was such a great version of that.
Billy Sherrill produced that album. Ray
and
Charles
Chet
and
Atkins
Friends.
played on it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
And I knew they were coming up to record. And I thought, oh, man, a Ray Charles cut?
Yeah.
Hillbilly me? I'm going to write a Ray Charles. And I thought, God, I got to get something. Well, I had run out and almost given up on the idea. But Ralph Emery had Ronnie Millsap on his show one night. And Ronnie was laughing at the piano. He said, people, I almost was late. I had a hell of a time driving to work tonight. The crowd cracked up because everyone knew Ronnie Millsap, of course, is playing.
Right.
So I went in to see Billy the next morning. I said, Billy, Ronnie Mills made fun of his own handicap last night. I said, do you think Ray would? Well, I don't know where you got in mind. I said, well, two guys catch each other cheating on their wives in a bar. And Ray said, I didn't see you. George said, and I didn't see you. And we didn't see a thing. And he said, go home and write it. Boy, I went home, smoked something. and then I started in on that thing, and George loved it. We were worried that Ray might feel offended, you know.
Yeah.
So, no, he slapped the table and said, I love it. So they went in, and it was one of the CMAs, one of their top 10 all-time shows where they did it on. That Ray Charles was something else. And in that same album, he and Janie Fricke did Who Cares?
Yeah, exactly.
Wrote that with Shelby Kennedy, Jerry Kennedy's son.
There you go.
Back in the, it's been beautiful people that helped me along.
Well, you also, because in The Ride, there's a line in there that I love, which is where Hank basically tells the writer who he is. And I love that line. You don't have to call me Mr. The whole world calls me Hank.
You know where that came from?
Audrey.
Came from Miss Audrey. The day I was so grateful to visit Hank's house. And that lady was beautiful. I said, Miss Audrey, I want to thank you for letting me see all of Mr. Williams' boots and his clothes and the whole house. And I'll never forget this as long as I live. Well, you don't have to call him Mr. Honey. The whole world called him Hank.
Wow. She gave you
That
the line.
stayed with me for years. 2 decades later, 3, when I wrote that.
Wow.
It was Miss Audrey.
Yeah. God rest her soul.
God rest her soul.
Yeah.
And Hank.
Oh, you bet. You bet. I have to ask you, what was the relationship like between Billy Sherrill and David Allan Coe? I always found that, I thought when I heard that Billy Sherrill was going to be producing David Allan Coe, I thought, man, you're talking about two guys that are very headstrong and.
Well, Billy was respectful, and so was David.
Yeah. Yeah. If David thought you were good,
he respected you.
Yeah. He was respectful to you.
And when I was around him, of course, David was David.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Billy understood, but, and he'd double parking on Music Row out in front of the CBS. You remember that?
I remember those days.
Waylon even put that line in the song.
Did. David thought that was being an outlaw.
Yeah.
Double parking on
Music Row. But David fully respected. He knew who he was working with, Billy Sherrill.
Yeah.
And George used to call him Mr. Nashville. Billy.
Yeah.
And people asked, how did you ever get with Billy? Asked me.
Yeah.
How did you ever get with Billy Sherrill? I said, well, he was introduced by Carmel Taylor, who I'd met I was night manager of a liquor store.
Yeah, I remember.
And I met Carmel, and he took me down to meet Billy. And I said, Mr. Sherrill, I know your hits, and I know what you do in this town, and it is an honor to meet you. And Billy looked away. He said, Mister. Boy, that's a word I ain't heard in a long time. He said, where do you come from, East Tennessee or East Texas? I said, East Tennessee. He said, well, I knew it was one or the other. And then he said, you have an open door here.
Wow.
And I was when Carmel and Gnarl sold their publishing company. I went with Gallico, and he and Billy had a publishing company, Algae Music.
Mm.
Boy, I got to meet everybody through Billy.
Yeah.
And he was one of the most respected guys in town. I mean,
He should have been. I mean, the
big guys would wait up in line to see him. I came down the steps one day, and Robert Duvall
wow,
was coming down. I thought, wow, this is great, man. I'm a big fan. And I said, "You're Robert Duvall?" "Yes." and he left. He went on down the steps, and I went up to see Billy, and I said, "I just met Robert Duvall." He said, "Yeah, well, it's not a good day to meet him." I said, "Why?" He said, "Well, I told him, Robert, you're one of my favorite actors, but I don't think you can sing worth a damn."
That's one thing about these producers. They'll tell you the truth.
They'll tell you the truth.
But you know, that's what I miss about the old Nashville is that when I got here in like 77.
Mm.
And probably like you get to town, you think, boy, this town's waiting for me, buddy.
Yeah.
You find out real quick it ain't.
No, it ain't.
But one thing I did like about it back then, because at one time, we were on Music Row, the radio station I worked for. And we were right across from Cedarwood Publishing. And back in those days, if you got to know those guys,
Yeah.
you just walked in. You know, like there were many days before. I mean, I worked the overnight shift, but I would get up and I'd go into Cedarwood, see those, writers. And in fact, I heard Still Doing Time when it was getting written.
I'll be done.
Yeah. And I knew when they were writing that song, I thought, that's going to be huge. And sure enough,
And
George
it was.
Jones, it was very big. But it was a different vibe back then. You could just walk in and you become friends with these guys and hang out. And I miss those days.
They were comfortable when they'd come up to Billy's office.
Yeah.
And it was a pleasant, I remember sitting there listening to Billy Sherrill and Johnny Cash tell stories about their days in Memphis
Oh, wow.
at Sun Records. And I'd have to pinch myself and think, am I really here?
Yeah.
Am I hearing this?
Yeah.
One in particular, he was getting ready to do John. And John came in and he was sitting there laughing. Billy said, back in the days of Sam Phillips, he said, we used to do 5 sessions a day, man. Billy was worked to death. He lived on the couch in Sam's office. And so Johnny Cash came in to record that morning. And he said, now, Billy, I'll be back after a while to hear my session. Billy said, okay. So he went on recording who and whoever. Sam would just bring them in by the handful. And he said, I was asleep. It was 2:00 in the morning. And he said, I was asleep on my couch. And Johnny going, and he said, I was asleep on the couch at 2:00 in the morning. I hear this on the window, on the glass door.
Yeah.
So it was John. Billy, I want to hear my session. He said, John, I've had no sleep, nothing at all. You were supposed to come back earlier today. Well, I had an interview. Well, come back in the morning. I'll play it for you first thing. I got to get some sleep. Billy said he went back over to the couch and laid down. All of a sudden, kaboom! Johnny kicked the glass door out.
Oh.
Billy said, I thought a bomb went off. He said, I ran up to the door and said, Billy, John, what are you doing? He said, I want to hear my session.
I don't think you heard me.
I said, what did you do, Billy? He said, hell, I got up and played him the session. What do you think I did? And John was sitting there laughing, and I'm thinking, wow, this is great, man. John said, well, you know, Sam was pretty good. He never did send me a bill for that door. I said, well, after that act, who'd send you a bill for anything?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, knocked a glass door.
Can you imagine when Johnny and Waylon roomed together up here in the Fontainebleau apartment complex? I understand they kicked in quite a few doors.
Oh, yeah.
Because one would get too stoned and lock the door. Yeah, the other one forget his key.
Johnny told somebody, I said, well, you drank a lot back then, didn't you, John? He said, no, I can't drink. It makes me break out. I break out doors, windows. I break out.
But, I kind of miss those days of those, because those country stars back in those days were just colorful, man.
They were.
I used to hang out at, in fact, I think talked about this in the previous podcast, but I used to hang out with Farron Young at the Hall of Fame Motor Inn every now and then.
Loved him.
Oh, I did too.
Loved him too.
What a great guy and great singer. Great singer.
Do you remember when he and Webb Pierce opened the Rhinestone Cowboy?
I do not. I don't remember that.
It was on Broadway.
Yeah,
and it was
maybe
back when
before
most
my
of it was adult houses and stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You remember that time?
Oh, I remember that time.
That's when
yes.
I came down.
Yeah.
And so Webb and him opened what? Well, I was writing for Merle Kilgore. I had just gotten to town, and Merle's giving me my break, and I was in his entourage, Yeah. Merle would go around and have 4 or 5 people with him all the time.
It's a hit.
We went in the Rhinestone Cowboy, and Webb was there, and this was funny. Webb was there, and of course, it was around midnight, 2 o'clock in the morning. They'd been drinking a lot. Webb, Farron said, well, won't you get up and do one? All right. The place was packed.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting at the table with Merle and Farron.
Yeah.
And a couple other writers.
Yeah.
So Webb got up there, got to the microphone. He'd had more than a few. And he was swaying like a palm tree in a hurricane. And Webb said, all right, everybody, let's get out here on the floor and disco. Farron was sitting staring at the wall. Merle said, Farron, are you okay? He said, yeah. I just wish one of you'd tell me something. How in the hell do you disco to Why Baby Why?
He's got a good point. Boy, you're not kidding, too. I forgot about how, today when people come to Nashville, especially downtown, of course, now it's all clubs.
Yeah, it's like Bourbon Street with cowboy.
It really is. You nailed it.
That's good.
Yeah. I grew up in New Orleans, so, quite familiar with Bourbon Street. And that's what it always reminds me of when I go down there. And, of course, I don't go down there all that often. But
that's the way it is now. But back in those days, it was, you had sex,
wide open.
It was. They were like sex stores,
it was a bit on the seedy side.
Hookahs everywhere.
Times Square circa 1978.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Because I got here in 77.
I got here in 78.
Well, so you got here about the same time I did.
Yeah.
And you worked at that liquor store that was it on 8th Avenue?
It's right where 8th Avenue turns into Franklin Road.
Yes.
Colonial
I remember that
Liquors.
place. I remember that place.
Oh, boy, that was the greatest thing ever happened to me. I met everybody in the music business
you
at
had
that liquor
to.
store.
A
You
liquor
had
store.
to.
It's funny. I came out of the Navy and Tennessee School of Broadcasting, remember?
Yes.
I applied and the Navy said, yes, we'll pay for it. Okay, so I'm going to, because I knew that would give me a chance to pitch songs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, I went to work as night manager of the liquor store down there, Franklin Road. And what was that guy's name? Neil, I believe, called me and said, Gary, the VA has approved your school money. You need to start, man. I said, well, I don't know if I will or not. Why? I said, well, I just went to work at the liquor store and I wanted to be a DJ to meet personalities, country music
That's
singers.
why I got into it.
Yeah. And I said, this week I've already met George Jones, Buddy Killen, Curly Putman, and one more guy. I said, I don't think I'm going to need it.
Yeah. That's the truth.
So I worked at the liquor store for 3 years.
Well, that area right there, because even there was a Shell station that used to be there. Les Acton was the guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he, that dude met everybody. So yeah, and the problem with radio, because I thought getting into radio,
There's only one.
well, yeah, there's a lot of problems.
Do a whole podcast on that.
I think we have, and we probably do a lot more. But anyway, the problem with radio, yeah, you'll meet a lot of country stars, but they don't you're not going to be able to. It's not like being in like running a liquor store, or like I said, working at a talk station. I have met more people in country music than I ever did in country radio.
I have a theory about that. Why that is? I think because with talk radio, it's about talking. With music, it's more part of their job.
It is.
Yeah.
It is, and they look at you that way if you're a country DJ.
This is what I have to do.
Yeah, and they have to talk to you, and so it's not a. And I think, and we've talked about this before. I think in talk radio, they get to know you a little better as a person.
Yeah.
You get to hear intimate stories, and you can kind of relate more.
George would come in. He had Possum Holler down on First Avenue. You
I remember that. Yeah,
and he'd come in the store about two times, 3 times a month. And sometimes he'd stock his bar. Sometimes he'd just come in and get a half pint. Daniels.
Yeah.
And he bought a Lincoln, and Preston Lincoln Mercury was right across the street from. You remember Francis Preston's house?
Oh, wow. That's right.
And Preston Lincoln Mercury was over there. George came in one day. He was cussing and mad, said, $30,000 for a car, and nothing electronic works on it. I got here's a brand new Lincoln, yellow, burgundy, beautiful burgundy.
What year was this?
This had to be 80.
$30,000 for a car in 80. That's a nice car.
yeah.
A Lincoln. That's when they really took the big jump.
Yeah.
Right.
And he said, I got to be downtown. So I said, well, George, you can have my car. I don't get off till 11. Well, would you do that? I said, yeah, I'll do that. And I called everybody in town I knew. George Jones was out driving my Cadillac. I had a Cadillac. It was a beautiful car. Yeah. And George Jones out driving look out for him because he's coming down. And he'd come in, and I'd say, George, I got a song for you. And I'd have my cassette, my old lyric sheet, already. All right, come on out here. We go out and sit in his car, and I'd play it. Some of them he kind of liked, and he looked at me, he said, son, you're almost there. You ain't there yet. I can't use this.
Yeah.
But you're almost there. Now, don't quit writing.
There you go.
I thought when George Jones tells me that, I'm going to go home and write.
Yeah, exactly. You're almost there.
I love the guy.
So you mean the dealership didn't have a loaner for him? I guess they didn't do that back then.
No, I don't think so. But he had an appointment. He had to.
I got to say, it's really unfortunate you didn't stick with radio, man. You missed out on a very fulfilling career.
I've often thought that. I've got a lot of friends, DJ friends all over the world.
I imagine you do. Yeah. So, Gary, did you see the George and Tammy miniseries that was on Showtime here a couple of years ago? Did you happen to see that?
I did.
Yeah. What were your thoughts on that? Well, in particular, the Billy Sherrill character, quote unquote, in that wasn't really all that favorable. It wasn't in that series.
Billy told me he was riding along in the 50s and heard George Jones sing and said, one day I'm going to produce that guy. He said, I was in my Chevrolet and I heard him and I'm going to produce that guy one day and write songs for him, which he did.
Boy, did he. Yeah.
And Billy was not an outgoing person. He had his head full, of thoughts of what he was going to record. He'd help pick the songs for the artist, and he'd pick the right song most of the time.
Boy, he did.
And he knew a hit when he heard it, and if he believed in something, he'd push it. I mean, look at He Stopped Loving Her Today by Curly and Bobby.
Oh, man.
That thing, it took him 3 years, I think, to get George to finalize.
That's true.
And George told him, well, I finally finished the morbid SOB, and nobody will buy it. And Billy said, well, we're going to find out next week.
Yeah.
It won Song of the Year.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It was huge.
Twice.
In fact, it really resurrected a career that was starting to go. I remember it really broke my heart. I went to see George Jones, and you may have been there too. It was when he did his comeback at the Exit Inn, and he was in no shape to be there.
No.
I mean, he was bad into cocaine, and he showed up, and he didn't even have a belt for his pants. He had to keep pulling his pants up, and But I remember that night, man, he did this song that ended up, I think, on the same album as He Stopped Loving Her Today. He did the whole night in a Donald Duck voice.
I know.
It was sad. But the one song he sang, not in that voice, and he sang the hell out of it. I think it was a song written by Tom T. Hall, Someday My Day Will Come.
Yeah.
I mean, that place, we were all kind of just saddened by the whole night. But when he did that whole room, you could just tell this is going to be a hit record. I mean,
another Tom T he did was I'm Not Ready Yet.
Mm-hmm.
You know that?
Yeah.
Tammy cut it. Everybody
Yes.
did, but I loved that song.
I did too.
That's one of my favorite songs.
Oh, me too.
Some April when all the ground is wet.
Yeah.
Literaturistic or something. It was put you in the picture.
Oh, definitely.
Of so many lives of so many people that stay for whatever reasons in a relationship. He came in Carmel Taylor's office raving about that song. He said, I'm going to cut it. I thought, well, I think you should.
Yeah. And
I heard him sing
did.
a little bit to Carmel.
Well, that's cool when you get to hear a song before it comes out. I got to hear David actually sang one when I met him at Spence Manor. He did a song he put out called Whiskey, Whiskey, Take My Mind. It was before I think it was the album before he did The Ride, Castles in the Sand. But man, that song, I thought, when I heard that song, I told him, I said, man, that could be a hit. Very good. It's so cool to hear songs like that.
Did he release that as a single?
Whiskey, Whiskey? Yeah, he did. It didn't hit, but it should have. I mean, it was a great, great tune.
Yeah, I had a couple of similar experiences. Gary, I've been in radio since high school back in the 70s, but I came to Nashville to work for MCA Records as a promotion guy there. And I was there a number of years, worked for Jimmy Bowen. And
Jimmy, I knew Jimmy.
I'm sure you did. Interesting dude, great, just brilliant guy. But he had a fellow on his stead, a lifelong friend named Don Lanier. His nickname was Dirt. And Dirt went all the way back to Bowen's days with Buddy Knox and the Rhythm Orchids. They grew up together in Texas. And anyway, Dirt was the A&R guy. He was the song picker. And he weighed me down in the hallway one day and said, man, I want you to tell me what you think of this song. So he threw the cassette in the player, and it was Whoever's in New England. Oh. And I said, man, what? He said, yeah, these are some new songwriters I ran across, and they got some really good stuff. I'm going to pitch this to Reba. And, of course, it was a career trajectory that went, kablooey after. It is kind of a neat treat to hear stuff before, you know? Yeah. But Gary, I'm sure that like many songwriters, you probably have written things and said, man, this is going to be a monster. And nothing happens. I mean,
I've had that happen.
That has to almost break your spirit at times, huh?
Well, this is funny. It's a funny story, but you remind me of a time. When I went to Billy Sherrill's, I had a bunch of songs, and I had one called Cowboys, Turquoise, and Thunderbird Wine.
I like the title.
Oh, well, so did Billy. But he didn't have any artist right then in his stable that he wanted to do it on. And a year later, I'm in the liquor store, night manager.
Yeah.
This guy comes in with a big cigar, he said, and I had done the song at Bluebird Cafe in a couple of places, So in walks this cigar smoker. He said, you Gary Gentry? I said, yes, sir. He said, well, I just left Billy Sherrill's office. I'm Cy Rosenberg. I used to manage Charlie Rich.
Wow.
And he said, a kid in Memphis said he wrote Cowboys, Turquoise, and Thunderbird Wine. Cy loved the song so much, he brought him to Billy Sherrill to get a deal, a record deal. So while they were in there talking, Billy said, son, would you mind standing out in the hallway? I want to talk to Cy alone just a minute. He said, Cy, I don't know who your boy is, but he didn't write that song. Gary Gentry did. He writes for me now, and I've heard the song. So I said, man, I exploded, turned red, went out there to confront the boy.
Yeah.
He'd gone. Never saw him again.
Yeah, he knew. Yeah.
He'd gone. Never saw him again.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's songs, and I have songs like that, some of them were movies. You were talking about story songs. I love story songs.
Oh, yeah.
And I wrote one that I still think is a movie, and I told Garth Brooks, I want to play it for you. I said, David turned away from it. Johnny Paycheck turned away from it but Billy said, that's a movie. That's a movie. It's still sitting there in a little box under my computer, you know.
Is that the one you played for us at our house?
Which one?
It was about, I think it was an interracial.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
Cotton
great.
Town.
Yeah, I love that
Cotton Town.
song.
And
That would make a great movie.
yeah, and I think Garth could be in it.
Yeah, you could.
I really do. I see him as a 1945 reporter with a little short brim fedora on.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
Smoking a cigarette with a notepad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Be
whole
better than
thing.
Chris Gaines.
And I've got.
It would have to be.
I think that'd be great.
You also wrote a song that David Allan Coe sang. It was on his Just Divorced album that I loved, called Bluegrass Morning.
Bluegrass Morning.
And it gave a new meaning to bluegrass.
Well, they say write what you know.
Yeah.
I knew a lot about that.
I was right there with you, brother.
Right. Yes, sir. I know. And yeah, that was fun. David came in that morning. I said, David, you got to hear this. He was going to record something with Billy.
Yeah.
And so I played it on the guitar for him. He said, it'd have to be me or Hank Jr. or somebody do that song. I said, yeah, we wrote it for you. Well, I'm going to do it. So he just took the cassette, went in there and told Billy and them to chart that. He put it on that station. Billy came back with thumbs up, like, hey, we got a cut. Because Billy was my publisher, too,
Yeah. Yeah.
And he wasn't expecting that. And there were so many. David said there's so many writers on that song, it seems like it's longer than the phone book. It's me and Danny Dars, Mark Sherrill, and Ronnie Rivers. And we were all partying when we wrote that song.
Really? I wouldn't have thought so by
Yeah.
listening to it. Yeah. I was going to ask you what brought that song. I mean, was there a story behind it, or?
Well, I think it's because the weekend before I had gone to Bardstown and visited Stephen Foster's old Kentucky home.
Oh, wow.
And I thought, well, old Kentucky home. And it's a bluegrass morning. So it was one of those fun things that you don't.
Well, it was. It had some great lines in it. Like what was it? She's
packed her bags and went to Florida.
Yeah, and it's something about she's soaking up the sun in Florida. I'm smoking up
I'm
this motel.
smoking up this motel room.
Yeah. And it wasn't cigarettes.
Oh, it was fun.
That was a great song. And you've also, I've got to touch on this because I'm a big fan of truck drivers. And you have done that too in your life. You've been a truck driver.
For 35 years, I drove a flatbed truck.
Yeah,
up
you
until
did.
about a year ago.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And went all over the United States, wrote a lot of songs in that
I
truck.
bet you did.
No interferences, no diversions, just
Yeah. So
3 in the morning.
you were on the road alone, right?
Alone, yeah.
Yeah. So I guess that does give you time to just
It
kind of
does.
reflect
and,
on things.
And you meet the people you meet, the customers and the shippers and other drivers. It all it meshes together,
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people don't realize how important the truck driver is to this nation. I mean, they get goods to everywhere. They're driving all hours of the night.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they really sacrifice a lot.
I enjoyed it.
I got that out of you, especially out of the CD you put out. I still have that, by the way. That was a great CD.
Did you hear the caller, Red
Yes,
Saban story?
yes.
Red was a great guy.
Yeah.
I met him in Hawaii. I was in the Navy.
Yeah.
He showed up. We had a little band. So back then, they didn't bring the bands from Nashville over there.
No.
And he didn't have Teddy Bear yet. He had, Little Rosa. He had all those recitations, and he was so good.
Yeah, he was good at that.
And I was 21 years old in Hawaii, met him, and I was already trying songs out on him. Mr. Van, what do you think about this song right here? He said, well, it doesn't matter what I think. What do you think?
Whoa.
And I said, well, I think it's pretty good. He said, do you believe in God? I said, yes, I do. Well, you take your faith in God and your little songs, and you go to Nashville, Tennessee, and you knock on doors. Now, 9 out of 10 of them are going to slam in your face. One door will open, and that's all you need.
Might as well jump.
Oh,
Might as well jump.
Yeah.
There might be a song.
What a
in there.
man.
Yeah.
What a man.
He really was.
And, I had to write a tribute to Red.
Yeah.
He's buried over in Woodlawn with Billy Sherrill and
Yeah.
George and
All those guys.
all those wonderful guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Del Reeves is another one. A lot of people
God,
won't
I
know
love
about Del
Del
Reeves,
Reeves.
but man, he had some great trucking songs.
He did.
Yeah. And Dave Dudley.
Oh, Dave Dudley.
Dave
man.
Dudley. Yeah.
Oh, Dave.
You know, a
Dudley.
lot of people have cut 6 days on the road, including
Oh,
Steve Earle.
Yeah, Steve Earle did a good.
But
Sawyer
to me,
Brown.
though, nobody beats Dave Dudley's
Oh,
version
no.
of that.
And plus
you
the
know?
guitar in it was
Yeah.
just so cool.
It was a time, I remember as a kid when that song came out. I thought, gosh, I was working at a truck stop. That's all you heard.
I
Yeah.
can
Days on
imagine.
the road and I'm gonna make it home
tonight.
I love But he was during a time before we had all these trucking regulations, and there was a pride in being a trucker, and he made it happen. He showed that pride.
Yeah, he did.
6 days on the road, and I'm gonna make it.
Yep.
Taking little white pills, and my eyes are open. I knew about those.
I
Yeah.
love the voice, man.
Oh, that growly.
Yeah.
I'm over wide.
Yeah.
But that was the biggest. Oh, a friend of mine said his daddy was a trucker and wanted him to go get the thing. Said they went down to the store and said, we've got about 1,000 of them ordered. They're already out. You may as well get in line.
So, Gary,
Same as-
what did you think of the whole CB radio craze, though? The convoy, and all,
I did.
the C.W.
and,
McCall.
And I was one of those CBers. Went by Junkyard.
No,
on the
that was
radio.
your
I like that.
radio handle.
Radio handle, because I had a bikers album out, and it was Junkyard Gentry and the Used Parts Band.
By the way, Gary has the coolest Harley I've ever seen, and your tank. Whoever did that.
Got Hank on the tank.
Yes.
Hank on the tank.
Yes.
And the ride written right under it.
Yes.
When Jinx Hartman was doing that paint job, Beth Petty, who runs the Hank Museum, she didn't like the font. She said, use an old typewriter font to write the ride with. And I did.
Wow.
And I had more compliments on that.
Oh, that's a good looking bike.
He did a job on.
He did.
He did a job, and it's the
God.
same color as Hank's Cadillac. He said, I called Jinx. He researched the paint. He said that was an Olympic blue Cadillac that Hank died in.
Yeah.
And he said the EPA came along a few years later, and there was lead in that paint. You can't get that paint, but I can get it within 3% of the Olympic blue, and the naked eye won't be able to tell the difference.
Wow.
I said, let's do it.
Yeah. Boy, it's
Great
beautiful.
artist. He's an artist.
Oh, he really is. Well, man, I really appreciate you joining us today, and
Yeah,
we
this
gotta
has
have
been
you
special.
back
Yeah, it's
sometime.
just
Oh,
been
this will
special.
be fun. The stories, the people that I met. I am so fortunate. Every day I count my blessings. And it's the people I've known in this business. Max D. Barnes.
Oh yeah,
I loved him, man.
yeah.
And all the guys that helped me and supported me, Billy Sherrill, I really miss him.
You have some great stories on Billy Sherrill. In
Oh.
fact, anytime he's on Facebook, he's always telling stories on there, and man, they are fun to read. And I appreciate you doing that.
I know his daughter and son-in-law
Yeah.
and grandson. And I think they enjoy the stories too.
Oh yeah.
I remember one day Billy was in there and I was raving. I've always been a songwriter fan. I mean,
Yeah.
I knew all of them, the greats,
Yeah.
because I wanted to be one of them. I wanted to be, you know. I walked in one day and Billy was watching, let's see, what was it? No, he was reading the paper. I walked in and said, Billy, you know, songwriters just don't get enough credit for what they do.
That's the truth.
I was raving about songwriters. He was reading the paper. He slammed it down on the desk and he said, songwriters don't get credit. They get checks. Big fat checks. Now, why don't you get the hell out of here and go write me a big fat check?
What was that you were saying about producers not mincing words?
Yeah.
Right?
Especially Billy Sherrill.
No time for small talk.
Make some of that mailbox money.
Yeah.
I got to ask, what is being done today that you're really liking? What are you vibing with? Like, you know, song-wise, artist-wise, anybody come to mind?
I really like Ashley McBride.
Nice.
Yes.
She's a little bit of today, a little bit of yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
She's a recovering alkie and addict like me.
Yeah.
I appreciate what she's doing, and I pray for her to make it all the way to the top. I like Lainey Wilson.
I do too.
I think she is just so cool.
And she's a good actress too. She was good in Yellowstone.
Yellowstone.
Yeah.
And I like a lot of the groups, a lot of the artists today. I'm a song man.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, why don't they have a better song? You know, Billy said one time, he said, I can take a mediocre song and the greatest artist in the world, and I ain't going to get a hit with it. But I can take a hit song and a mediocre singer.
Exactly.
I can get you a number one.
Mm.
And so I'm thinking today, where are Max and all my heroes? They could feed songs to these people today who are seeking success and gold and platinum records and all. There's a few old writers around, Jim McBride, Roger Murrah, some of those guys, Keith Stegall.
Yeah.
Some of those guys.
Love Keith Stegall.
And they wrote some great things in the 90s, like for Alan Jackson and all that. I think Dylan did a thing the other day with them. And to me, music was the backdrop of my life. We didn't have cell phones.
No.
We had no diversions. You had 3 channels on TV, and it went off at midnight. We listened to the radio.
Yeah.
So all these stars came into our world. Now, God, man, this is great. George Jones, Buck Owens, Merle, all of the greats.
Yeah.
Waylon.
Yeah.
And I thought, man, this is it. Well, then here we got into the computer world. Here came the smartphones. Here came, and we walked off and left the kids' generations forthcoming. And they've gone into a different area. Today, it's, it's so, the computer.
Yeah.
It's YouTube, Amazon, all these. And I don't fully understand it and don't want to, or I'll never write it again.
Well, you know what I miss? And I brought this up before on one of our podcasts, but what I really miss, because of YouTube, computers, like radio today, everything is, they now have cameras in the studios. It used to be theater of the mind. And that was what was great about music, too, before you had videos with MTV and everything. You would hear a song and you'd build your own image of what the song looked like, what everything they were describing looked like. It was more fun.
It made you use your imagination.
Exactly. And today, that's not the case. Now it's done for you.
Are just so repetitious,
Oh, exactly.
Over and over and over again. I'm thinking, where's the story? Where's the meat and tater? We got the meat here.
Yeah.
Where's the taters?
And plus, you were bringing up some of the new artists. I think with country music, I've been more impressed with a lot of the females than I have the males, because a lot of the males I'm hearing, I can't tell one from the other.
Well,
We're used to, you heard an Ernest Tubb song, you knew that was Ernest Tubb. You heard a Waylon song. You knew that was Waylon. You knew it was Conway.
That was Billy Sherrill's idea. Everybody had to be a stylist,
Yes.
not a singer,
Right.
a stylist.
Yes.
Nobody has to tell you it was Merle Haggard. Nobody had
No.
to tell you it was Waylon, George, anybody. They came on and you knew.
Yeah, exactly.
And today the kids don't know. I had a producer, a young producer the other day tell me, Gary, these kids come in here and don't even know who George Jones is.
They think Lefty Frizzell's a baseball player. And that's sad, really. It's really sad. But I hope, I don't know what do you think will happen to the future of country music? Do you think it's going in a good direction, or do you think?
I think it's all melding into one genre.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, especially
it's
when
like-
Beyonce wins Country Album of the Year, the Grammys, which I thought was kind of, I mean, I'm not putting the album down because there were some cuts on there I liked, but it's not what I would call a country album.
Well, she grew up in Texas.
Yeah.
She's been around country music.
Well, the Texas Hold'em.
Yeah.
I heard the Waylon beat in that.
Yeah.
She definitely had a Waylon beat
Yeah.
in there, and that kind of impressed me.
I talked to Rusty at Sony Records, and I said, if she's going to do country, why don't we get Beyonce to do The Ride
There you go.
and get her to do Sister? Can you make folks cry when you play and sing?
There you go. Oh,
You
that
don't
would've
have
been
to call me Mr. Sister. And I said, and get her booty in Hank's Cadillac and her coming out with those blue jeans. And Rusty said, gosh, I like that.
I do too. That's a great idea.
He said, I'll meet with her people. So they were going to New York to do some time. I
Yeah.
don't know. But
Maybe Jay-Z
it's all
didn't
about
bring it.
glorifying Hank. you
Yeah,
know.
it is. Because he was the litmus test, I think.
Well,
And I can put new shingles on my house.
well, if we end up hearing Beyonce do The Ride, man, we heard it here first.
Yeah,
right?
we did. We
Yeah.
did, and we should end up hearing that.
Yeah.
A female has never done it.
No, she
Tim
didn't.
McGraw, all these guys do it, and a lot of not so big names. The other day I heard a rocker do it.
Really?
A rocker, his name is Eddie Bush, and Mayhem.
Oh, I like that.
That's his group.
I like
So he
it.
got on there with just a flat top guitar. I've never heard a bluegrass picker picked like this boy did.
Wow.
And did The Ride, just him and the guitar
How cool.
at some outdoor media gathering
Yeah.
in New York. I said, wow, man, thank you. That
Yeah.
is so good.
Yeah, man, that can get me a Lincoln Town car.
Well, Cadillac's got a 2026 Eldorado that I'm about to die for. It's got fins on it like the 1950s.
So Beyonce, if you're listening, it's time to cut the ride.
Exactly.
Gary needs a brand new car.
That's right. Buddy, it's been fun having you on the
It's
podcast
been so fun.
today.
Jim, Jay, Johnny,
The
B,
3 J's.
Yeah.
the 3 J's.
Triple J.
I really appreciate the opportunity, and you've taken me back. You've taken me back to remember
Well, me too.
some
You've
of
done
the
the same.
wonderful times in
Same
this
here.
business.
Oh, you're not
And there are
kidding.
more great times to come. It's
Yes,
gonna
they are.
keep changing, but
We'll have another throwdown at the house, and we'll all be out there.
that'd be great. You'll
Yeah,
be a
we-
rock star. You won't have time to do podcasts anymore. Right, audience, here you're out there.
Well, you the man. Thank you for coming on the Circling
Yeah,
the
thank
Drain
you.
podcast. Be sure and make all your comments and subscribe, baby.
Follow, rate, review, all that.
Please do, and let us know you can comment and let us know of anything you'd like us to talk about or somebody you'd like us to bring on. We'll try to make it happen on Circling the Drain podcast. Join us next time.